Sup? Hey everyone, this is BMG's Plush World. Now hold on. BMG, why are you the Yamper from that one video, and why does your voice sound ridiculously messed up? To cut it short, I got sick over the week, and because of it, I had to skip school and I started losing my voice. Now, I was going to film the next episode of Plush Survivor, but lots of the character voices, I just could not do it. But not to fear, as there is one more idea of a video I've had in mind, and being sick is the perfect time for me to do it. This video is about the cancellation of Isle of the Lost Pokémon. If you don't know, recently I canceled Isle of the Lost Pokémon, which was a series on my channel which I visited every month or so. It really wasn't popular, only got 7 videos, and then I canceled it abruptly. I didn't explain why, and I feel like I should explain why along with this video. But along with this video, I'm also going to be explaining what would have happened in the series if I had continued it, and the death order of the characters. Now then, let's just get this started, because I don't have much more to say. I'm sick after all. Alright, before we dive into the good stuff, let me give you guys a recap of what happened in Isle of the Lost Pokémon since the first episode to episode 7, since it has been 3 months since I last covered it. The series follows Vulpix along with Eevee and Scorbunny and other characters, but Vulpix is the main character. The 3 come from an older series called Your Turn to Die Game Over, but Vulpix's character comes from my oldest series, Alolan Starter Squad. The other main characters from Isle of the Lost Pokémon either being new or from Alolan Starter Squad. The series begins with the trio waking up after arriving to the new island. They explore and find that the Pokémon on this island have been turned into weird zombie-like creatures. They get saved by a group of survivors, our first half of the cast. Emphasis on first half. The leader of the group is Primarina, the Poplio from Alolan Starter Squad and an old friend of Vulpix, along with Baxter and Eevee from Alolan Starter Squad evolved into a Jolteon. For the first few episodes, the characters get developed the best they can, and they avoid trouble while at least 2 main characters die. Then, they find another group of survivors, the second half of the cast, and trade with them for supplies. But they end up running into the second group's base after raiders kick them out of their own base, only to catch up and kidnap everyone from Vulpix's group and the second group and take them back to their base, where they meet up with Decidueye, Incineroar, and Sceptile, the last 3 members of Alolan Starter Squad, fully evolved. They claim to know the cause of the zombie infection, which is a legendary Pokemon at the top of a mountain on the island. While all members of all 3 groups begin to work together, a zombie raid attacks and kills the raiders who kidnapped them, Shade the Gengar, and Millie the female Meowstic. The rest then set off to the mountain, and that's where I left the series. Now, with everything that happened in the series so far, I'm going to continue by explaining the good stuff. The stuff that would have happened if I hadn't canceled the series. I will remind people I didn't have time to plan everything in the series. I only planned out some events, mainly the death order, the villain, how the ending would have gone, blah blah blah. I will explain as much as I can though. And as we go on, I'll also be showing the death order up on screen very frequently so you know who's currently dead. At the time of episode 7's end, the people who are dead are Bidoof, Patrat, Weavile, Gengar, and the female Meowstic. With that out of the way, let's get to it and explain what happened if I hadn't canceled the series. One last thing to take a note of is I'm just going to be saying everything that happened from episode 7 afterwards. I'm not going to be specifying what episode they appear in since I had no clue how many episodes there would be. Just what would have happened in order after episode 7. Alright. Now from this point after episode 7 and the group began making their way towards the mountain, they would find themselves at an abandoned Pokemon Center and go inside for shelter from the zombies. This is the point where I want Cubone to share that, oh, he was a traitor and secretly told the raiders about all of them. Then Girder would get mad that he was a traitor on his group the whole time and try to attack him, making Cubone lose his mask. After this, they would then get split up by the zombies. I'm not sure how the groups would get split up, but I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted each group to be on which. Now then, on one side of the group, the one that Vulpix is on, They would make it to a gorge that had this bridge over it. They all go across, but it breaks when Vulpix crosses and Delibird is left on the other side with an infected Pokemon. He dies because of this. Rip the Canadian. Yeah, he's the sixth to die. The reason why I did it was so that the characters would have a reason to lose the food they had and be a bit more crazy. His death was inspired by trips from the Walking Dead Telltale series. Literally.
Fucker! Trip! No! Ah!
Moving on, the group ends up reuniting together, and later as they continue, they run into these two strange Pokemon. Now I have to pause here and explain the villain of the story. Because it canceled the series at episode 7, the villain didn't really have much time besides showing up at the end of every episode. Although you can probably look at the white paper and identify which Pokemon that is, in case you can't, this was the villain. Yep, Azelf was the villain. Okay, let me explain why. In my Plush headcanon, the Creation Trio have servants, the servants being the Lake Trio. Ozleaf works for Dialga, Uxie has Giratina, and Mesprit works for Palkia. Thank God I remembered all those names first try. Azelf learns that it's his powers of willpower are what's making the people around him so quote-unquote innocent, and not have the action in what life he wants. So he goes to enslave the island, turning all of them into zombies. That's how the zombie infection casted, and he's the legendary Pokemon hiding atop the mountain. So then who are those two strange figures they found? Well, it's obviously Mesprit and Uxie, like who else would it be, looking for Ozleaf. They know his location and they promise to bring him safely there, but before they can even leave, more zombies attack and Cedicile gets infected, just like Bidoof. Yay! So now they have to kill him as well. Yay. 7th death. A moment of silence for Sceptile, the first Alolan Star Squad character to die. Anyways, let's continue. Later, the group gets to this area with this huge zombie horde and they have to get through it without getting killed. At some point when they're making it across, Cubone would tell the others to run as he fends off the horde from everyone else, and he essentially gets infected but doesn't die. He just gets left alone in the horde. So Cubone doesn't actually die, he just gets infected, and he's one of the zombies roaming around as well. He's still alive, just a zombie. Alright, from this point on, the script just gets meh. Nothing is really written besides deaths, and just some minor things. So I'm not going to be doing any more comic things in the background, I'm just going to be reading straight from the script, at least what's written of it. Vinny apparently gets infected by her tail, so they have to chop it off. I don't exactly remember what Pokemon infects her. I don't remember. The group gets split up again, and Fomantis, the child, gets infected. Lurantis can't bring herself to kill her child, so she's left infected like Cubone. And then after that, a Sevapir kidnaps Eevee, apparently. Yeah, besides the Sableye, Azelf also had a Sevapir that worked for him, but he never made it on the camera before I canceled the series. On their way to the mountain, they apparently find this cave, and Girder gets crushed by the rocks. Oh boy. Yeah, this is starting to get bad. Ava gets infected, apparently, with an unknown reason. She's basically left in chains. Back to a bit more descriptive things, Bulbasaur Venus ends up getting pricked by a thorn, which is secretly a Roserade, an infected one. It causes him to get infected and he disappears, and when they find him, he's infected. So they don't kill him, he's just infected. Okay, something besides the death, they do indeed find Eevee and the Sevapir holding him hostage, but it reveals it was just a trick so that Azelf could do the last part of his plan. I don't remember what the last part of his plan is. There's only one more part to go through, so I'll just do it. The last thing left written in the script is there was a fight between Incineroar and Primarina. Primarina gets killed by Vulpix, who interferes. This is kind of related to Alolan Star Squad more than the actual series, but it's kind of a mix of both. And that's the rest of the script. Whoops, sorry. I was just getting very bored of reading the script, especially when it's not finished. I mean, all that's really here is just deaths, and that's basically it. It doesn't really even show what would happen in the ending, but maybe not telling what the ending would be is a good thing, considering how trash some of my endings to my series can be. Escape the Night. And since there's really nothing else good in the script, I think we should just move on. Sorry if you were expecting a whole bunch of exciting ending that you never got to see. No, I really didn't plan much on it just because I only get to do this series every month or so. So I didn't take too much time planning it. Let me just move on to why I canceled it. Alright, with the okay what would have happened out of the way, let's get to why I canceled the series. It was for numerous reasons. I'm going to briefly cover each of them. The first reason I canceled it was the long breaks between each episode. I mean, after every chapter of Danganronpa Killing Server, I managed to get a good track of it, but once I started Escape the Night, I really lost track of my spacing on when I was going to film this series, and it made me not have time to plan things. So it was really hard to continue after I had already stopped for so long. The second reason was a slow start. The first few episodes really didn't have much going with them, besides just like connecting two different series to the current one. Besides that, nothing really happened until you got to episode 5. It kind of made me sad. I wish I kind of could have made lots of the other episodes before episode 5 really shorter. Maybe it would keep the story interesting. I don't know. Thirdly, Out of the Lost Pokémon was a series I worked on specifically when I ran out of ideas for other ones. It's why I did it after every Killing Server chapter, so I could work on the next one after it. But after Killing Server, and I already planned a whole bunch of stuff for the other seasons, I really just didn't need this series anymore. I mean, I tried to return to it, but it was hard when I didn't have a reason to. The second to last reason is lack of inspiration. I just started losing ideas for the series, especially for things that were besides deaths and anything else. Without the time to do it, I gave up on trying. And finally, the reason that made me wholeheartedly decide I was going to cancel it. The new Pokemon series, Pokemon Design Alteration Program. Personally, I actually took time to plan the whole thing for this series instead. And in my opinion, I think it's way better than what I did with Out of the Lost Pokémon. So, that's kind of why I mainly canceled it, for this new series to take place. I didn't want to manage 5 series at once. That series, by the way, will be coming very soon. I plan on starting it hopefully first week, second week of December. That's kind of where I'm planning. Once I at least get done with episode 12 of Plush Survivor and finish off Eliza's stories, and at least on this group with the last one, I'm immediately starting that series. Well, that's it. Yeah, there's nothing more I can really say. I've said everything about the cancellation I can. What would have happened, why I did it, and yeah. So there you have it. That's why I canceled Out of the Lost Pokémon. This video wasn't as long as my normal ones, but I kind of expected it to be that way, as it was just me covering why I did what I did, without really saying anything. Now, I don't really have much more reason to stay here, so I think I should about end this video now. I kind of want to do something like this again, though, where I'm as this like little PNG character talking to the camera. I have an idea for another video I want to do at some point, probably long from now. Maybe ranking my own Danganronpa trials, maybe not. We'll see if I get the opportunity to make that video. Well, for now, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you for watching this video, and I promise I'll return to Plush videos as soon as my voice gets fixed. Now, I will see you all then. Goodbye for now.